My name is Seth. We're going to get started here shortly. We got a nice group of folks, and I want to make sure we use our time wisely. We got a lot of good information to get into. So thanks again for making time to join the training. We are going to mute folks just so that we don't have a whole bunch of background noise. Don't worry, there will be an opportunity to ask questions. And we have a couple of folks from Ackshun Network joining me today who will be fielding questions in the chat box. So be sure to use the chat and not the Q&A, because that's going to be the best way for us to field those questions, which I know folks will have. So like I said, this is the Text to Take Action training from Ackshun Network. You should be able to see my screen, hopefully. And we have folks introducing themselves in the chat. If you want to go ahead and do that as we let folks filter into the training today, that would be greatly appreciated. And we'll get started here in just not even a couple minutes, a minute. So if you do have access to that chat box, go ahead and locate that and introduce yourself so we have a feel of who all is joining us today for our Text to Take Action training. Really excited about kind of talking about this. This is a new feature that we've just recently launched that works alongside our mobile messaging feature for Ackshun Network. So if you've joined us for any of those trainings or demos, this is the kind of the next step to really see what is available, what is another tool in your toolbox, if you will, for digital organizing. So thanks again. I see folks are joining us. I know Amy and Mara, you both have some access to be able to admit folks. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of get into it. So as folks come, we can just let them in. So I'm going to go ahead and move on. So for the purposes of today's training, as I mentioned, you'll be muted. Don't feel offended. That's just trying to make sure we don't have too much background noise. This is a learning session, and I really appreciate your attention as I guide you throughout this training today. My name is Seth, pronouns he, him. I am the Partner Success Specialist here at Ackshun Network, also work on the Action Builder tool as well. So if you haven't already, go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat. So if you didn't know where you were, if you didn't know where you were, now you know. You're the Text to Take Action training. I'm gonna give you, go back one here, give you a nice overview of what we're gonna be talking about today. I'll do a brief intro, kind of give you my background and why I'm the person that's doing this today. And then we will learn about Text to Take Action and cover some reasons and ways you might want to use Text to Take Action for your program. And then I'll describe a training scenario. And then we'll go into a use case from an organization called Ackshun NEO. From there, we'll dive into the demo. And then we'll take time, wrap up with a couple questions and talk about the next steps for folks who are interested in implementing Text to Take Action for their organizations. This should take around 40 minutes, give or take, and know that from RSVPing and also being here today, you will get a recording of today's training as well. So about myself, as I mentioned, my name is Seth. I won't spend too much time, but I have a background in digital organizing, obviously movement technology as well. I've been with the Ackshun Network team for a couple years. I'm joined by my teammates, Amy, who is, could introduce herself real quickly if you wanted to come off mute, Amy.
Sure. Hey, folks. My name is Amy Chinlai. I'm the Engineering Partnerships Manager here at Ackshun Network. So I manage our API integrations and all things technical.
Thanks, Amy. And then we're also joined by Mari. Mari, you want to give a quick intro?
Sure. Hey, everyone. Mari. I am the Ackshun Network Product Manager and super excited about Text to Take Action.
Thanks, Mari. So this has been a long time coming. So I'm operating from the expectation for today that you use Ackshun Network. You might be a partner, you use it for email and maybe even mobile. Maybe you joined one of our demos or one of our monthly 100 series trainings. We cover data, actions, email, and mobile messaging. So this is a special training that kind of takes that next step on mobile messaging. So you might be a partner, you may even currently use Ackshun Network mobile messaging. That's great. And you probably know that Ackshun Network is the progressive movement's premier digital organizing tool set. So that means we have a laser focus on digital organizing. And as far as ground rules for today, I just want you to please park any questions you might have in the chat. We'll be able to field those at the end of the training. If we have time, I'll select a few questions to talk about, and we can take the remaining offline. And I really want to respect your time and want to wrap up within this hour. And I appreciate your attention as I demonstrate how to use text to take action to mobilize more activists. So thanks for joining, and let's get into it. So just a little bit on mobile messaging. In a relatively short time, mobile messaging has eclipsed all modes of communication in how we connect, share, and engage in all conversations. It's the primary way people communicate on mobile devices today, barring none. So mobile messaging is just so why do we say mobile messaging instead of just like text or SMS? Well, mobile messaging is really it encapsulates much more. It's the group of digital communication that includes SMS or a short messaging text, in-chat text, push notifications, and messaging apps like WhatsApp or iMessage. So this kind of gives us a little bit more wiggle room to play with as we develop kind of features that you'll see coming down on the pipe as mobile messaging just becomes bigger and more robust tool that you can use. So Ackshun Network built our mobile messaging tool to help organizations of all sizes have access to a broadcast mobile tool with integrated targeting at an affordable price. So you don't have to be a huge organization to have a robust mobile program anymore. And just like many of our features and tools, we built this in partnership with our partners. And this one was with Daily Kos, and they're part of our partner development committee. And we can talk about next steps offline if that kind of piques your interest on kind of background. So to get started, we're going to do a quick poll. You can participate by using the Zoom chat. I understand folks might be actually using their phone, so it might be more convenient to use the chat. But if you're curious, you can actually try our text to take action to do this poll on your phone. And I'll just give you a second to select what might work best for you. So for folks that are joining a little bit later here, we're doing a quick poll. Basic question is, why did you join today's training? So in the chat, you can enter if you plan to use that. So A, if you plan to use Ackshun Network pretty soon for your program. B, if you want to learn about text to take action, so you're just a new learner. Or C, you're a curious supporter. And if you wanted to do this on your phone, you can actually just text 612-261-0902. That's going to be our test number for today. Text the word poll, actually. Text poll to 612-261-0902, and you'll be able to answer some survey questions for our poll that way as well. So I'm gonna give folks an opportunity to answer. Wow, it looks like we got a lot going on quite in this chat. Any leaders standing out, Mari or Amy, as far as what people want to learn or why they joined today?
Seeing a lot of Bs, people that want to learn more.
Want to learn more, that's understandable. Well, hopefully folks take advantage of trying out the poll on text. And also thank you so much for those answers. So B will definitely hope to uncover, demystify text to take action in today's training. So thanks for doing that. So for my trainings, I really love to do terms and key concepts just so that we have some context for understanding and learning together. So text to take action is commonly referred to as text to join or text to take or keyword texting. A keyword makes sense, and we'll actually define that But I like that we use text to take action, because I really believe one of the most powerful metrics that Ackshun Network offers is the ability to track activist actions and look at those actions through an overall action rate for your program. So we use Ackshun Network for our tool sets, obviously. And so what I'm really looking at is our action rate. So when we ask our activists to RSV for an event or sign a petition or what have you, I really want to see what percentage of those folks that we reached converted over to actually completing that action that we asked them to. So it's really exciting that with keyword texting or text to join, we can do exactly that. We can actually engage folks through using keyword texting. So what are keywords? Keywords are allow your activists to take action on petitions, forms, and events using a keyword, something that's short, something that allows activists to submit to a phone number like join or RSVP, which you might have used in order to RSVP for this actual training. And that actually counts as them taking an action. So you may be familiar with, and the next thing here, you may be familiar with peer-to-peer messaging. You might have done this for get out the vote or volunteering outreach. Our mobile messaging feature is an application to person. So this just means that we just help facilitate your ability to send out mass text. So kind of thinking about that megaphone, how you're able to I'm able to sit at my desk and I can reach thousands of people through text in a matter of seconds. So it's really powerful, really robust, and you can do it for your list that are in Ackshun Network. So short codes, long codes, toll-free numbers, those are just different types of phone numbers you can use. Excuse me, short codes are like as they sound, they are 5 to 6 digits, while toll-free numbers are 10 digits and considerably less costly to acquire. So that's just something basic to know. But the most important thing to take away as far as concepts is now we can use text to take action or keyword texting, and it will function just like someone taking action online. So what are some of the reasons you might want to implement text to take action? So why? A lot of times we want to have a why. So it's nice to have all these wonderful tools in our toolkit. And Ackshun Network is definitely a digital organizing tool set that offers various types of tools. And it really is depends on what your program needs, and then obviously your community that you're organizing with. So I just created a couple of bullets here. And in my opinion, as a digital organizer, it offers accessibility and equity. So people who access the internet primarily through their smartphones can now take action. It's personal and it builds authenticity, meaning texting is really personal. You can build an authentic identity and have a conversation with your folks. It's easy and efficient. So your communication, it has to be succinct and to the point. You have a limited amount of space and characters to ask people to do what you're asking them to do. So it forces you to be a little bit more succinct and really kind of boil down your ask. There's an increased conversion and there's better action rates, which I told you I'm all about action rates. So that means by industry standards, and you can kind of look this up for yourself, but by industry standards for these types of products, open rates for text messages are north of 90% for text versus email, which is about 20%. So just by those numbers alone, we will probably see a better response rate, and for our tools, proposed better action rate. And then lastly, engage with an activist over time, and it lowers that friction associated with like long web forms. So you can build your list by engaging with your activists over time, and we'll show examples of how you might build that list today. And then lastly, it's fun. It's something new. It's a new way to engage with your members, your volunteers, the folks that you're organizing, and really kind of use that creativity that organizers are known to have. Okay, so now we are going to get into the fun part. We're going to talk about today's training scenario. So kind of put your imagination hat on. There is Ackshun NEO. So Ackshun NEO is a newly established organization that is made up of highly engaged leaders who have successfully mobilized hundreds of residents in their city. So it's gonna, maybe they did this over past like 2020, where we had a lot of actions taking place. The group's core communication outlet is a social media platform that allows them to share images, memes, and short videos. So they don't really have a website. They really kind of came to be and just set up a social media account. But they have 4,000 followers, so pretty large, pretty good following, organic following. They have, contact information for about 200 people, and are now looking to grow their list, their activist list. They are a group that is an Ackshun Network partner, and they've used petitions in the past to pressure local decision makers to reverse course on several harmful pieces of legislation. So not only do they talk the talk, they walk the walk, and now they're looking to take that next step. Oh, so this is their logo. Spend a lot of time on that. And this is a little icon for social media. So I'm going to talk through the demo. So I'm getting ready to hop out of this PowerPoint. So a little information about the organization. For the rest of the day's training, like I said, I'm going to go over to my browser and do the demo. But I'm going to give you a little bit more background of what we hope to accomplish for Ackshun NEO today. And I will guide you through the setup. Then we will endeavor to test our setup. And then we'll do a brief recap of what we did. So how are we doing on time? I know I'm going kind of fast. I just wanted to make sure that we covered this material. Again, a lot to get through. So what is our task for today with our group, our use case with Ackshun NEO? So here's what we need to do. Ackshun NEO is planning to host a virtual rent party. So you might be familiar with rent parties for back in the day. This is when people would throw a party and have some food. And this is back when we were kind of in person and we could have a plate of food and pay, and everyone would put money in the pot, and then we would help cover rent and community care and mutual aid. So Ackshun NEO is planning to do this, but they're going to do a virtual rent party where proceeds go to support rent relief for city residents. They created this spiffy post for social media to share the event. They are requesting that people RSVP and chip in with donations of support if that's something that they're able to do. And they want to ensure that their folks without computers or in-home internet can use their smartphones to take action and join the event. So we're going to have to figure out those couple things as we set up that action in Ackshun Network. So that sounds good. Give me some plus signs in the chat and I will move away. Awesome. Okay. So here I am on my default group manage page. Some of these boxes of Zoom. And I want to actually take a moment to note that my group is an Ackshun Network partner. So I have access to upload email lists, and I want to go in my settings so I can just show you that I have mobile messaging enabled, which is what you're going to have enabled in order to use text to join. So if I go into my settings here on my navigation menu here, this middle ribbon, I go to settings on my group manage page, and I can scroll down and I can see that I do, under mobile settings, have my Twilio account connected. And I also have my setup message servicing set up. So I see that this is complete. This is complete. So that means that I'm good to go to start sending messages and allowing my activists the ability to text to take action. So now I want to set up my rent party event. I actually have a draft prepared. So I'm going to go into actions up in my start organizing menu. And then I'm actually going to go over to my list so that I can view my events. So now my page is loading and I have my list of events. So I told you that I have my event set up as draft. And now I'm going to click edit. So I can go here and edit that. So I'm just going to give my event a once over to see if it's looking like I want it to look. This might look familiar to folks that have used Ackshun Network. So I have a title, I got a time. This is not a physical event. We're not really doing that at this point. I have a banner that I wanted set up, and then I have a little message here for my event description. I also feel good about my form. But if I wanted to edit the form, I would just click edit form. And then that would open up and allow me to edit that information. I have my question library that I can drag and drop information in if I wanted to change that. But like I said, I feel pretty good about this form. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my next step. So I'm going to click save and go to next step. So this is step number 2, where I can edit my thank you page. So this is the screen that an activist would see if they were online filling out this form. I do need to add a little note for instructions here so that I can move on to the next step. So let me think, what do I want to say here? Let's say you will join details the day of the event. Just a little note so they know what to expect. And then I'm going to click save and publish. So now I'm on my virtual rent party event manage page. Now, since I published my event, you'll now see that I have all these options under here. I'm just going to view the event really quickly to see what it's looking like. So this is the actual web form, or the URL hosted page that you would see and that activists would see if they were going to fill this out, just like any event, maybe like the form that you filled out today, but just to kind of show you what that looks like. So here's the form. I'm going to hop back over here to my manage page, because what I want to do is add my keywords. So in order to do that, I'm going to click on this button that says edit keywords. So if we remember back to that image that I made, our keyword that we wanted to text in was rent. So I'm going to do RENT. And this is not case sensitive, so I could do lowercase, but I'm going to go ahead and use uppercase. I'm going to click add keyword. And now you'll see that it's dropped down here to active keyword. You can add multiple keywords. So if I wanted to add, so this is an example I wanted to show you. So actually, I am using the word NEO on another as another keyword within this group. So I cannot actually use this one on this for this specific action. So I would need to come up with another keyword. So maybe we want to use party. So I'm happy with this. I'm going to just click OK, all done. So those keywords have been added. So now we can see here along the right-hand side, all of my active keywords. So I have rent and party, which are now my keywords for this action. So now my next step is I can actually create a ladder, but the keywords are now active. So if I actually did enter rent, and I will be showing you, I'm going to actually try to use a phone emulator here so I can text myself and actually show you what this looks like on my screen. But before I do that, I want to actually create the ladder. So this is one of the newer features that we added, your ability to actually use our ladder automation tool right from an action. So I've got this action set up, and the next thing I want to do is click create ladder. And then I get my choices of these various templates, which is really, really helpful that I can use. And I think for this example, I want to use mobile collect activist info, because Ackshun NEO is a newer group, and they really do need to build their list out. So I want to go ahead and click on use this template to get my ladder started. So now Ackshun Network is loading that template. I want to maybe give it a different name. I'm going to call it rent party RSVPs. And then now, if you're familiar with the ladders, this might look familiar. For folks that have not seen ladders, it's our automated messaging feature that allows you to set an action as a trigger. That's inclusive of our actions in this instance, but other ways to trigger folks into a ladder, and it really refers to ladders of engagement, so that people are receiving information and or automating processes that include adding tags, subscription processes as well. For today's training, actually, I'm going to show how we can actually edit this and run an example through this ladder based upon the action that I took, which is RSVPing for this rent party. So I'm actually in the edit portion of the ladder, and you can see clearly here that the action that's going to trigger this is that I have RSVP'd for this event. So I can actually edit that and see. So again, the trigger here is took a specific action. I have other options underneath here. It could be subscribe to an email list under action. It could be received a specific mobile message, email, but we're going to go ahead and stick with took a specific action. So I have some action options under here. I have the rent party. I have several other actions, but I'm going to go ahead and stick with my rent party example here as my trigger. And then I want to actually limit this to trigger only if activists have took action via mobile message. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, select that box. And I'm going to save the trigger by clicking Save Trigger. Now, so then our next step after that in this ladder is we're going to send a mobile message. So if I text rent and I'm RSVP'd, I will automatically receive this message to collect my email address. I want to go in here and see what it says. So basically, it's asking me, it's telling me thank you for taking that action, and then it's asking me to respond with an email to continue. So I'm not going to go through for the sake of this training to edit each individual one, but I do want to talk about the weights in the stores. So we want to, and the great thing with the text to take action is that we can actually store the responses within a custom field, and that will be a part of the activist's profile. So basically, we can be able to look back and see how folks responded. We can pull reports on that information as well. So I want to wait for the mobile response. I could do wait for a number of days, but I want to wait for that response. I want to wait for that email or that first name or that zip code to come through, and I want to store that in that correct field. So we can select how long. Actually, I'm going to shorten these up. I'm going to see if I can shorten them up to something shorter. Wait. So I am going to go through here and edit the times. And again, you're going to get a recording of this. I know that it is a lot of information, but at the end of the day, know that you can set these up and you can use it for them to take action with the ladder or without the ladder. It's a great tool to be able to test out for your programs. And as I mentioned with the stats, there's a really good opportunity to engage folks because it's highly personal, and folks are going to more than likely open up your message. Okay, so then after I was finished with setting this up on how it looked good, I definitely want to be able to test it. So I'm going to actually turn my replicator on now. Hopefully this works so that we can see this come through on my phone. And if folks do have questions, feel free to pop those down into the chat. I know that both Amy and Mari are fielding those right now.
Seth, can I talk a little bit about subscription and data in mobile versus email quick?
Sure, please.
Is that okay? Okay, so we got a question from Lindsay, and I think it's worth just noting that up until a couple months ago, all records uploaded to Ackshun Network had to have an email address. That was our unique identifier. And a couple months ago, we added the ability to upload standalone mobile numbers. So you can upload a list that includes records, some of which have a mobile number and no email address, some of which may have email plus mobile or standalone email. So starting now, you can store records with just a mobile number.
Gotcha.
So you would, in this case, if somebody texts in, but they don't give you email or phone number, they don't give you their email address, you could have a record in your group that is an email address for an activist and a record in your group that is their mobile number. And eventually those would probably merge together, and we can drop some documentation about what the deduplication process looks like. But you can store both types of records now, which is great. And here's that documentation if folks are interested.
Gotcha. All right, I'm not exactly certain this is coming through. It's coming through on my phone. I'm gonna try one more time because I think it definitely would be helpful to be able to see it in real time. So let me go back to Ackshun Network. And we should be still in Ackshun Network. We'll try this one more time. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna move on.
Cool. And while you do that, there's a couple other questions I just want to clarify. When somebody texts in the keyword, we are collecting their phone number because they're texting in from their phone number. We're collecting it. And once they text in that keyword, they are immediately subscribed to your mobile list. So just wanted to clarify that. Yeah, it's very great. We're very excited about it. You don't need to use wait times, do you? And Seth, just stop me. I'm just going to answer a couple while you're doing this. Is that okay? Okay. You don't need to include wait times. The nice thing about a wait time is that you can use like a wait and store. So you can wait like Seth did here and then wait for a response of email address and store their email address, opt them into your email program. And immediately when they respond, they will exit the wait step. So we're not just going to wait an hour before we respond. We'll respond immediately. But if they don't respond within an hour, they will like exit we won't be able to store a response for them essentially. So, and then
switch my desktop. Okay, can you see my phone? Folks, see my phone or no?
Not yet. We still see
You still see the
ladder outline.
Here we go. How about now?
Let's view. Yes, it's working.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and text into our different. So this is the number, obviously, that we have on file. So we would say text, and then I think the keyword that we set up was rent for a party. So let me go ahead and text that in. I think I would have to set this to actually publish. Just next step I need to do. But I can test it. Obviously, I can test. Testing is important. We talked a bit about that. There's always the ability to test your ladder prior to publishing that. And actually, let me go ahead and test it here so you can see a message come through on my phone. So you want to test to ensure that it's working. Comes through pretty instantaneously. In order to kind of run through the entire ladder, you're going to want to go ahead and publish that. But you want to ensure that you test the ladder and make sure that the information is correct because ladders are not retroactive. So once you publish that, you cannot go back and edit particular content within that ladder. So definitely testing is super important in making sure that that all works. I'm gonna go back. And since I have this published, see if we can get a couple of these texts coming through. So I know today we actually did the poll. So if you participated in the poll, you probably saw some text coming through where we text the poll in, and then we had welcome to text, and then I don't know how folks answered, but for these we have A, B, C, and we have A, B, and C, and that information is going to get stored into a custom field that I set up called training poll, so I can go back and see how folks answered. So you know, I'm hoping I hope folks are planning to use it soon. So I'm going to respond A, and then we're going to get a response here that says you're in the right training. If you don't have mobile messaging yet, respond and I can help you get set up. So it's weird because it's for myself, but you can see how this is pretty efficient. It's super fast, which is definitely a benefit of SMS. But I do know that down the line we are, you know, adding more and more features every day. Not every day, but every opportunity that we have with our partners to kind of along our roadmap. So it's kind of wanted to give you the setup of that. Now, this is the example of us kind of going through the ladder. So we know that we set up a core field and a wait for me to be able to kind of capture the information. So now it's saying the next up is my first name. So I want to respond with my first name. So this can be added to my activist profile, and just kind of go through the ladder in responding and having that kind of engaging interaction with your activist. And then it's also a way to actually kind of build your list and capture that information that may not be available. So, I mean, I have the weights set up here. So information is going to be coming through. It's going to be difficult for me to switch in between screens here, but you should have an idea. What I do want to show is my activist profile so that we can see all the actions that I've been taking over the course of this past training. So you can see kind of like, it's true in the fact that I can actually text, and I've been texting this information in, and it's going to show up on my profile as the actions that I've taken that we've been texting to. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this share and move my, thank God I have two monitors because I got a lot going on today. I'm going to go back over here and share my screen so that we can take a quick look at my activist profile. But hopefully that was helpful to kind of see in real time how we do, how you can easily set up a keyword once you get mobile established, and then use ladders, use mobile messaging to help folks be able to take action and then do those various activities that are going to help really kind of grow your list. If you haven't seen our the blog that Mari wrote, it's a really good example of other ways to kind of think about how you might use text to take action. So it sounds like I actually just got another text that came through. So it kind of works like that, very instantaneously. But again, you might want to do a donation via a keyword. A lot of different options, a lot of things that you've probably seen out there with nonprofits, and you might have been on a list and wondered how they've done it. So we've kind of demystified that and made it really accessible. So I'm going to go back into my Ackshun NEO group. I want to go to people, and then I want to go to the activist. So if I look for myself as an activist that's in this group, I can go ahead and edit my record. And let's see the different actions that I've taken today from, so I've been testing this out, so I have quite a few, but we can see that, you know, for my action history today, I've completed this form a couple forms that I tested, but most importantly, just in the last few minutes, I was able to text rent into this event, and now it's showing as an action that I've taken. In addition to it being an action that I've taken, I'm now in that ladder. So now it's able to actually add information, update my information, and it's all going into my activist record. So that's kind of really how it works from soup to nuts in action. And let's go back out here to my group, close some of these screens. I was happy that my phone was kind of behaving today. Now my phone's actually blowing up with the messages. It's asking me again from the ladder to add my last name, and then the last one would be to add my zip code. In this example with the Red Party, we kind of wanted to be able to take that next step. And as it's mentioned in the blog, again, you can actually do fundraising. So one of the things that I probably would add to my ladder would be a wait step, and then a message that would send out a Zoom link. And so that Zoom link would go to the person's phone in a text, probably the day of the event. So they'd be able to click on that and join the party. Another piece would be probably during the party or sometime before, I would ask for a donation. So we can share a donation link. We also could use the built-in fundraising action within Ackshun Network and do that as well. But that's something that I would do in the continuation setup of this keyword and this text to action kind of push. But it is 3:42. As promised, this is kind of where I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. As far as, thank you to Mari and Amy for fielding those questions, and Mari for providing insight on some of the more pointed questions there. You can always reach out. You can reach out to me. I work on support as well at support@actionnetwork.org. If you don't have access to mobile messaging and that's something of interest to you, you can reach out to us there and we'll point you in the right direction. And what was my last point? Hopefully this was helpful. Last point was that we'll be following up with everyone that RSVP today, that joined today, with a recording of this training. Hopefully it was helpful. Hopefully it helped to kind of demystify some of the aspects of text to take action. And it's something that you might want to bring on board for your programs. I'll hang out for about 5 more minutes here, but that's the end of the training today. Thank you. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks for posting that link, Mari, for partnerships if you're interested to sign up. Looks like Amy and Mari took good care of the group and answering questions in the chat. I was no way I would be able to field that myself.
Lots of good questions. I think it's worth noting that you don't have access to this feature unless you've signed up for mobile too, just one last time. And I see a question from John. You can reuse a keyword, but keywords need to be deduplicated across the system. So if you want to reuse a keyword, you would have to remove it from the other action. And then there's a question about how did you share your phone, Seth? That was pretty nifty.
Yeah,
what app did you use?
I was so disappointed if that didn't work. It was really weird. It worked on my monitor, but it didn't work on my laptop. But anyway, it's an app called, what is it called? It's called Let's View. It works on Mac and iPhone if you have that. So it's called Let's View, which is scary.